Well, thank you very much. As the last presenter for this afternoon, which is keeping you from dinner, I could be one of two things. I can be the very boring bloke that you speak about over dinner, or I can pique your interest. So hopefully I can be the latter. This afternoon we're going to touch on delivering renewable energy at a distributed level. The biggest shift that's occurring in the energy market, I don't want to get too detailed this time of day, but the biggest shift in the energy market is that, as we all know, the grid itself is going from a fossil fuel base to a renewable energy, but with that comes a very large distributed or dispersed renewable energy base. All of us with property assets, with solar on the roof, now form part of the national energy market, whether we understand it or not. And with that comes a lot of disruption in the energy market, which is one of the key reasons as to why energy costs have increased over the last little while, and regardless of what you might hear or read, will continue to stay at levels that are at the moment. Who we are, I'll talk to myself. Max Kamali is going to follow me, who will explain who Mondo is. Prospecta was born out of solving some issues and addressing some I was going to say problems, we could call them problems, what they were, on behalf of Gem Life. We're not energy people, we're property people, but we're property people that understand energy. So all of our team members, all of our senior team members come from the property market, and we understand the nuances and the difficulties in delivering, whether it be a greenfield site or manage an existing brownfield site. So we understand where the challenges and the problems are. And as Chris mentioned, we've done quite a lot of work in assisting Gem Life as they transition to renewable energy across their portfolio. When we started with Gem Life, they had a target of around 90% on-site renewable energy generation and storage, which is quite a bold undertaking. The challenges with that is that the distributors themselves, down here, whether it's Ausgrid or Ausnet or whoever it might be in Queensland, it's Energex, don't have the capacity or the ability always to connect that level of generation into the network. So quite often our bold ambitions are met with an ageing infrastructure that isn't necessarily fit for purpose. So there's a number of challenges that come about in trying to do this, and in I guess solving those is key. But the biggest factor that came out of delivery for Gem Life was that we recognised that we just didn't have to deliver the actual infrastructure. Obviously that was a key part of it, but what the directors of Gem Life wanted was an infrastructure that provided benefit for the homeowners, so the homeowners could get reduced energy bills, and where we trialled it, the original site at Palmwoods on the Sunshine Coast, homeowners were getting monthly energy bills of $8 per month. But we also wanted to have an infrastructure that earned money on behalf of the business. So what we've done is built I guess if you want to, a lot of buzzwords, but an energy ecosystem that provides the benefit for the homeowners, reduces operating costs for Gem Life as an operator, but also provides Gem Life with ongoing revenue opportunities through participation in the national energy market. So when you look at how this comes together, a little diagram there with moving lines to get your attention at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. We build the infrastructure on the site, so we roll out the solar. In this case, we install a battery. The battery absorbs the additional or the excess solar before it goes into the grid. As I mentioned before, the energy networks are no longer paying exorbitant amounts for feed-in tariffs. They're playing catch-up. So where you were getting 15, 20 cents in Queensland, they're paying 44 cents a kilowatt hour. Now in some instances you're getting zero, and there is talk in New South Wales we actually get penalised for exporting to the grid at the wrong period of time. So to get that energy balance on site becomes even more critical. So the battery sits there to absorb that additional or excess energy. Around 40% of your energy charges relate to network charges. And depending on the site, it can be upward of 45 to 50%. We know from the Gem Life experience, 46% of their energy costs relate specifically to demand charges. And demand charges relate to that 30-minute period in a given month where the maximum amount of energy is consumed across the site. So that might be, if we're looking at southeast Queensland as an example, that might be a very hot, humid February afternoon where there's cloud cover, so we're not generating solar. Everyone's got their air conditioning systems on and demand charges go through the roof. The battery that sits between the network and the homeowner assists in load shifting, so it reduces those exposure to demand charges. So it's bringing down those network charges or those network costs, and in turn, the total cost per kilowatt hour. Where we monetise the asset is through participating in the national energy market. And because the national energy market is transitioning from that coal fire or the fossil fuel into intermittent renewables, and you've got a distributed energy source, so you've got everyone's homes generating and pushing energy into the grid. The grid itself requires firming, so it requires at times, I don't want to get too technical, but at times it needs to maintain the frequency, and at times the wholesale energy market can go up to $15,000 a megawatt hour. So through contracting these assets into the market, you've got the capacity or the ability to be able to take advantage of those mechanisms. So as a property asset owner, you can participate in the national energy market by monetising what was once an expense or a cost. You can turn it into something that at worst is break even, but at best can actually return a commercial or provide a commercial return. Now we have to make all this work. There's obviously some smarts that are required. I'm going to hand over to Max very shortly, who's going to run through how Mondo's smarts work and how they integrate within the market. But the smarts that we've developed, there's a twofold. There's the energy management system, which will manage those energy flows. So it will watch what the energy market's doing in it might be 5-minute intervals. It'll watch what the building's doing. And it will advise or inform the battery how to operate. So if it predicts that there's going to be a market event at 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, it will advise the battery management system to retain charge of that battery so it can take advantage of that market event where you're going to get a greater return for the stored energy. Likewise, if there's not going to be any market event, it will say discharge into the facility to manage those demand or those network charges. Now, to communicate all this, and actually dovetails into the last presentation, we did have fibre throughout all the Gem Life resorts, which, provides the connectivity, but it doesn't provide the granularity of connectivity that was required to optimise these assets. So we did a deep dive, and we're rolling out fixed wireless in the form of enterprise 5G networks. So we build our own 5G networks over the site or over the location, and it becomes a little 5G island which provides far greater level of connectivity and the ability to be able to monitor, measure and control almost any device that can be monitored, measured or controlled. Now in the Gem Life world, it provides connectivity to homeowners so they can jump on Google and Netflix and Foxtel, whatever they might want to access at the time. Mine Bitcoin if that's their want, whilst through the community we're providing connectivity that enables us to manage the generation assets, optimise the storage assets, as well as provide some facility management and control. So things like tying into the irrigation system, so again, which is linked into BOM, and it's not going to turn the sprinkler system on if it's going to storm at 4 o'clock this afternoon. So that's it in a nutshell. I know it's very, very late. I'm going to hand over to Max now, who's going to discuss Mondo's role in this and how their systems can optimise what we're talking about. So hand over to Max.
Thanks, Mark. I would like to start by saying thank you for this wonderful opportunity to speak with you all here at the Leaders Summit 2024 in Sydney. I am Max Kamali. I lead market development for Mondo, a division of AusNet Services. So what Mark described is a highly technical renewable energy system and how it can be integrated into retirement living and land lease sector. And what I'm going to focus on are the benefits of these systems for your communities and how we have the right mix of innovation and stability to help you realize those benefits for your stakeholders. And I'm going to highlight that we have solved a previously unresolved technology gap in deploying batteries, and we have made it possible to deploy batteries into space. This solution is good for your homeowners and residents, good for the environment, and for you, the operators, and your stakeholders. It's good for the homeowners because it reduces the cost of living for them. It is achieved by harnessing the power of solar and giving the homeowners access to energy that is low cost and that is predictable in a fair and equitable way, now and for years into the future. The two pictures on the left are from a land lease community that we have installed solar and battery solution in Victoria and effectively have transformed this site to a self-serving virtual power plant that meets a big chunk of its own energy needs, and we extract the value as well from the batteries. The result, the cost of energy expenditure of the clubhouse down to virtually zero, and the residents receive a significant reduction on their bills. There's a display in the clubhouse that feeds in the live performance of the system, how solar and battery are operating, and everyone can see how many cars they have taken off the road or trees planted equivalent and as a result of their renewable energy systems achievements. So it's contributing to the social bonds and connectivity within the community. But also this is a good proposition for the environment because it's clean, it's renewable, and it's sustainable. It helps you to reduce your carbon footprint and meet your ESG and sustainability commitments. Let's go to the next one. So you have heard that your residents or your homeowners want solar, they want battery, and they want EV. And you may have heard as well that there are technology gaps in delivering them. We are here to tell you that we have solved those gaps. We have solved those technology and economical gaps, and we have made it possible for the batteries to interact with the greater grid. So while the battery is an asset that's sitting on your site and providing valuable service to your residents at the local level, to the local community, the batteries can interact with more than 10 markets in the broader grid and extract more value streams that then you can share with your homeowners and provide better value for them. What's on offer is a fully resolved and turnkey solution that replaces your delivery and ongoing maintenance hassles with reliable performance and outcomes. It's scalable and it's repeatable, and it can be deployed at scale across the portfolios. With our scale and expertise, we can bring efficiencies and cost efficiencies to CapEx and OpEx. And this can differentiate you from the other operators. The next point I want to make is really this system is highly technical, so it needs innovation. And this partnership, Mondo, Prospecta, have brought two highly innovative companies, teams with their technologies, the 5G network and Mondo's UBI platform together to unlock the value of renewable energies for your communities. But this also is a long-term investment that requires long-term focus, long-term commitment, and stability. Mondo is fortunate to be the 100% subsidiary of Osnet Services and subsequently Brookfield. And Osnet Services, with 100 years of heritage and S&P global rating of investment grade higher than even some European countries, will assure you that with our innovation and deep stability, you will be in good hands, and we can deliver on great outcomes for your communities. And the final point that I want to make is, I hope that I can leave you with a sense of optimism of what's possible for your communities, the reducing cost of living, ESG outcomes, connectivity and social bonds within the community, and the right mix of innovations, deep stability that we are bringing in. So I encourage you to note down our contact details or scan this QR code and come and talk to us. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Do we have any questions? Because I would like to point out that some people in the room might remember that 13 or 14 years ago, we had a solar company. We put in 10,000 solar systems across retirement villages across Australia. And those 10,000 systems, firstly, we were getting a feed-in tariff. I think it was only about 6 cents in those days, but the net result was, for the residents for at least another 4 years, they were getting free electricity. And if nothing made the residents happier than that dial in the community centre watching what was happening with the electricity happening in their village and with their electricity costs. So the opportunity to do something that is for the environment, that is for the residents in terms of reducing costs, is significant. However, why I was particularly excited by this presentation is the ability to have that local 5G network, the dedicated 5G network, because in the next 3 to 5 years, when we've all got wearables and we've all got systems in the home that is going to be checking our health, and we are going to be at risk if things go wrong, having a local 5G network is a great risk diminisher. So I do think if you are thinking of going down the solar route, or you are thinking of having health in your villages, then you really should speak to these gentlemen and see the offering that they have. So with that, thank you very much, gentlemen. We've ended today. It's time for dinner, and everybody has an idea of where they're going for dinner. If we leave now and you amble up to the restaurant, you'll be met with a chilled glass of champagne or wine or Prosecco and a magnificent 3-course meal and good camaraderie. So please enjoy tonight, and we'll see you at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. Thank you very much.